The ultimate goal of the Urban Servant Leadership Unconference, we want to be able to bring together as many pieces of the puzzle as we can so that ultimately we put together a picture that helps us see and to understand what a valuable, sustainable community needs to look like.
I'm here because my personal life mission is to help others help themselves. It's the epitome of what servant leadership is all about.
So I wanted to come to the Unconference today so that I could discuss the Healthy Indiana Plan, which is a healthcare plan that's available to folks between the ages of 19 and 64 who have incomes at less than 138% of the federal poverty level.
My name is Anita Adams. I work with Indianapolis Healthy Star. We know that there are inequalities that are happening in our community, and we work to reduce those for families.
You have to be called to be a servant leader because you know that you are going to give and you may not get anything in return, and that's okay. An urban servant leader is called to do what we do.
You should really research it. If you were not here, I urge you, I cannot say this enough, that you need to come to the next conference.
All righty. I hope y'all can hear me. This is Pastor G. This is Community Conversations. This is, I think, part 4. Oh my God, this has been a crazy marathon of a day. Y'all know, if you have been with us all day long, you know that we have talked to some of everybody today. We've even thrown some extra pieces in with my good friend James Wilson with Circle Up Indy. We also threw in Reverend Chauncey Brown, who is down there with the marchers downtown Indianapolis. We also threw in Theron Bond from Memphis, Tennessee. She was one of my former students from Tennessee State University. She's now a community activist in Memphis. We threw her in, but also Reverend Richard Bray has been with us. Attorney Roderick Bohannon from NAACP has been with us. Reverend David Green with the Concerned Clergy. We had a great conversation with Dr. Woody Myers, who's running for governor of the state of Indiana. And some of y'all caught that impromptu three-some interview with D. Ross and Reverend Chauncey Brown. That was awesome. And last but not least, we have Sister Rain Wilson in the house. She's with the Performing Arts Academy of Indiana Black Expo. And so if y'all don't mind, we're going to bring her on into the conversation. Let's give her a hand. Let's bring her into conversation. And how you doing?
I'm great.
She said, I'm great. Okay, I know this is a lot. We're going to take a lot of pressure off of you today, and we want to talk, really continue the conversation that we've been having all day today. Some of y'all may remember, and I'm going to go back to it, that we're talking about our way forward, navigating the new normal. And I don't think it's I don't think it's a brain surge to realize that we've got a lot going on right now that's new for us. With social distancing and COVID-19 and how it has impacted minority communities all over this country. And then you had Sean Reed, who was shot and killed by the police during a police action shooting here in Indianapolis, 62nd and Michigan Road. And then right after that, we had George Floyd in Minneapolis. And so we've just had a lot going on. We had marching in the streets. We had, so much happening. We are really entering into a new normal for our community. And so we want to talk to people who have solutions to what's going on in our community, not just continue to drum up the problems. That makes sense. We don't want to just talk about the problems, right? We want to talk about some of the solutions. And Indiana Black Expo, I know for a fact, and we've had some, sister, pronounce your name for me.
Rain, just like the rain from the sky.
Like rain. All right. Sister Rain and I have had an opportunity to talk a little bit. And so she knows that I know that the work that she is embarking on is work that actually works. Y'all hear me? The work that she is embarking on is work that works. So if you don't mind, take a few moments, Sister Rain, and share with people who you are, share a little bit about where you're coming from, and then we'll get into some of the work that you're about to embark on here in Indianapolis. Go right ahead.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Rain Wilson. I am the new director of the Performing Arts Academy at the Indiana Black Expo. I have been on the ground since February of this year, so very short period of time. Prior to that, 5 weeks prior to that, I flew in every weekend to just assess the program. It is a beautiful new 45,000 square foot space on the east side. I come from originally Chicago, Illinois. I was born and raised there. My degrees and my MFA is in theater. And so the arts is definitely the world that has saved me. I'm a spoken word artist, actress, director, writer, educator, and an activist. And I am here to really bring the arts through the Indiana Black Expo to young people. One of our target areas is going to be East Side youth. And our 4 areas that we have been working on, and that is going to pivot some, has been dance, music, video, and acting. And so I'm just really happy to be here, happy to have this tool slash weapon of the arts to really help young people walk into their voice. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So, okay, so let's dive into this because, I'm sure in the 5 trips or however many you've made to Indianapolis before you got here, you realized that Indianapolis has challenges not unlike the South Side of Chicago, right?
That's right. Yes.
And so, how important is it, from your perspective, to offer options for young people? How important is that to you?
It's extremely important. I always say our youth, they scream with a gun in their hand, or they scream with a knife in their hand, or they may scream with demands that are too much to even be met, and then they end up with a number on their chest. And I talk about that because I've done so much work in the prison system and in juvie. And so the arts gives them another way to scream, so that they don't have to scream with weapons. They don't have to scream inside of a gang. They can send that energy and untie those knots by learning how to create beats, by drumming, by utilizing their body through movement and dance, by taking on the stage. But if you don't offer young people another channel, another outlet, the world will give them outlets and channels that, as Black parents, we don't want them running into.
Right. So now, you identified at risk as in terms of the target, or maybe one of the targets that you all are aiming to really deal with. What is your ideas around how to attract those at-risk young people who are out there right now, probably dibbling and dabbling in something else that may not be healthy for them? How do you actually get their attention during the seasons that we're in right now?
Well, what we're doing right now, well, for one thing, you have to reach them with areas that they are naturally going to embody anyway. So young people are very much into dance, very much into using their body in that way. Again, they're saturated with videos and dancing in that way, parties. Beat making. We are building a recording studio. Young people have a lot to say. They want to rap. They want to spit inside of a recording studio and get their work out there, get their voice out there. And videography. Again, there are a lot of our young people that now want to go into journalism, want to go into broadcasting. So again, we're trying to create spaces that that will naturally give them a way to say and do what they want to say and do anyway. I think one of the things that we want to do at PAA, the Performing Arts Academy, that's unique is I actually want to build inroads where they not only can walk into their voice, but they can also have a part that is community engagement, so that their stories and their life and their voice is also impacting the community. So they are growing and they are being empowered, but they are also giving back. So there's a huge project that we're actually about to embark on right now with young people that, I'll share when the time is right.
Wonderful. And so, okay, so um, here's and some of the folk who watch this now know that I'm going to, I'm pretty direct and straight, and I'm going to go straight at it because here's the deal.
Yep.
How we know that many of those young folk deal with trauma on a regular basis, and they don't necessarily have counselors standing by to debrief every night when they come home, or to help them channel their frustrations in healthy directions. And so you can imagine that as you're aiming your attention at these highest risk young people, they don't just come with what they come with what they're wearing. They don't come with the, just the hats and the hoodies and the tennis shoes. They come with baggage. How do you see dealing with not just a creative outlet, but also helping them to deal with the additional baggage that they're bringing with them into these spaces?
Well, most of my training has working in some of the highest risk communities that exist. I've worked on the far south side that changed drastically from when I lived there in Chicago. I've worked on in the heart of the west side of Chicago. I've worked in Chino in California, and Pacoima, where I would go to work every day and there were vigils oftentimes sitting out, for someone that died the weekend before. So that's the area that I am actually most comfortable with working with, because I know certain techniques that I've built, that I've learned over time, artistic techniques to actually create a safe space, a space where trust can be built. And once you build trust and once you build a safe space and you actually let young people know that they are in an area that is completely judgment free and uncensored, and what they say in the most raw form is powerful, and you just give them that space to release, and then you show them how what they've said and what they've walked through and how they can unpack those bags and actually make a difference for someone else, so that their other brothers and sisters know that they are not walking and living on islands. That trauma has a space to actually live and do good. So it's about creating the right artistic space where young people can unpack those bags. And that becomes the first thing that you have to do before you can now drive home about academics and about school. And so it's hard to really speak about how I do that. I would love to invite you one day to kind of a fishbowl environment where you can actually look in and see kind of the work and how it unfolds. But it is truly about trust and about allowing them a space of complete freedom and free of censorship, for them to just be who they are. And you show them how that becomes bars. You show them how that gets channeled into a beat. You show them how that raw voice can become a performance art piece. And it's just about walking them through that.
Now, we have here in Indianapolis, we have had a history of missteps with regard to how we have handled the arts. I'm not sure if it's been the same. I would argue it has not been the same in places like Chicago, certainly where I spent a lot of time in Nashville, which is a very creative city that is friendly to creatives and friendly to those who are artistic. Indiana is not that kind of city. It's not a city that is a friend to the arts community. The art community has its place, but legitimately it's not a friendly city to the arts. It's more a very analytical city. It's a very logical city, and the arts tends to bleed outside of lines, and it tends to.
I'm learning that.
Yeah,
I am learning the hard way.
And so with that, and again, like I said, I'm that guy that works on both sides of my brain, so I kind of understand. Obviously, I left Indianapolis and moved to Chicago in order to sort of free myself from the bondage of the lack of understanding creatives. And so because of those missteps, what that means is, and this leads to the next question I have about how you turn the creativity into a stepping stone towards leadership, because that level of freedom to be creative also opens up someone's self-esteem. it opens them up to beginning to believe that they can actually achieve something. It does also open them up to the kind of criticism that is so very intimate when you get into the arts, because you put your heart in it, you put it out, and you give people an opportunity to criticize what you do. And so that, even in and of itself, is still a part of leadership. And so Indianapolis has fumbled that historically. And I would love to understand that aspect of how you're going to help sort of not necessarily heal the wounds, because a lot of it is just too late, but moving forward, turning these spaces into almost leadership, servant leadership development through creativity.
First of all, I want you to know that we need to talk when this is over, because you get it. And this is really one of the first connections that I've had quite like this. You really get it. And it's really beautiful to know that someone does. I have actually found myself on certain teleconferences with folks that are partners or stakeholders in different organizations and organizational leaders that are talking about how they're doing direct services in the community and what they're doing to help and serve youth. And then as soon as I start speaking about the arts, it's almost like it's almost like just silence. Like people are still saying, okay, outside of that though, what services are you all doing? How are you all really reaching the people? And trying to get folks to understand this is what I've come here to do, to reach the people and to reach the young people and the community through the art. And it is definitely like pushing up against a wall and leaning against the wind. I will tell you that one of the ways that I am leaping forth right now to do that is we are moving into partnership, a beautiful partnership with Butler. And the Dean of the Arts over there, Lisa Brooks, absolutely innovative in her thinking, energetic, on fire, and an out of the box thinker. And so what I brought to her was me leading the youth at PAA to do a documentary project around COVID-19 and how it's impacting Indy. And so what happened when on May 25th, when George Floyd was murdered, I immediately, in that sea of emotion, said, I've got to go to Butler and ask them if we can pivot. I went to Lisa, we had a dialogue, and we are definitely going to make the pivot. It is no longer going to be a capstone project around COVID, but our young people are going to engage with Butler students and with the community to actually do a full, beautiful, robust performance art piece around what is happening in the world today, dealing with race, the inequities that exist, and the riots and the protests post George Floyd. And so Butler has said, whatever you need, we are there. We will be present for you. And so we are actually going to leap into a beautiful space at Butler. But the work that our young people are going to do, we are going to do it in stages. Our videography students are going to take lead with other partners, panel in all the testimonies and the stories of people in Indy. I am going to go and hit the ground in Chicago. I'm going to hit the ground in Minneapolis and possibly LA and New York. We are going to gather all of these stories. I will take and compose those verbatim testimonies from people of color and beyond. I am then going to integrate the music students who are going to make music for the piece. We are going to have students take photography for the piece. Dancers are going to choreograph, and we're going to do this with a professional team also from Butler. We're going to have hip hop beats merge with violin. We are going to have gospel merge with general choral groups from Butler. We are going to merge cultures, we are going to merge arts, and we are going to do this all with a raw, verbatim documentation of how George Floyd's life and these protests and the fire that is burning in the United States and across 3 continents, how it now is impacting us. And that is the way that the arts brings voices to life, creates panel discussions and dialogues, and actually creates a surge of action items. That's real activism, and that's what we're about to do with PAA at IBE. That's the work.
And you know what I would suggest, and I'm nobody, I'm just somebody who's kind of walked walk the road that those young people there are walking.
Yes.
And so I've kind of been there, and I would suggest, in any way that I can be supportive, to make sure that as you make that track, there are individuals who are doing things creatively in the community, but they need to see it on the level that you're describing it. They need to experience it on that level. They need to experience the spirit of excellence that you just described, so that people can recognize that they, just because you are recording something in Indianapolis, it should sound like it should sound like it came out of a studio in New York, and that's okay. It can do that. And just because it was shot in Indianapolis, it can look like it was shot and edited in Hollywood. Yes, that's okay. It's okay. I think that because Indianapolis has been nap town for so long, people sleep their way through every project. They sleep their way through every script. They sleep their way through every treatment. You know what I mean when I say treatment? Every storyboard.
Yes, I do.
They sleep their way through it. And so when you bring a big vision, what's going to happen is that many of the sleepers are going to downplay it, not because it's a bad idea or a bad vision, but because they don't understand a vision like that. And so I would say, for those who do, please grab their hands and say, okay, this ain't business as normal. This ain't business as usual, rather. Come see what we're doing. Come see what our young people are doing. Come see what they're creating. Come see how they're choreographing. Take them with you.
I receive that. My wheels are turning. Yes. And so I think that what you speaking to me has just ignited was, again, this idea of kind of a fishbowl environment. I used to work at the University of Wisconsin, and there was spaces where we would actually allow people to just come and witness process. And process really helps to change people. And so me and Lisa Brooks had talked about doing different things at different smaller venues in the community before going to Butler. But now I'm actually even more interested in even doing more fishbowl moments where audience can actually come to just witness process and see, because a spirit of excellence is really the only way that I know how to work. And my artistic base is in LA, even though that's not where I was born. I've lived many years there. And in LA, we work hard and we are hungry. And I'm talking about, I have friends that would work my concessions at my play who have MFAs from UCLA, because we support each other like that and we grind. We do 24-hour sets, and we don't sleep. And so that's what I hope to achieve here. I've already had a few people say to me, will you be able to handle that at the same time that you also one of your plays in the Onyx Fest, which is going up in October? And I told them I will grind these several months and I will rest afterward, but I will be okay, because it's so absolutely necessary, I believe.
And so let's recouch that in what your exuberance and your excitement is about what it is that you all are planning. Let's recouch that in how important it is to model this level of enthusiasm for the arts in front of young people who have been told that, and this is not that it's not that this is a bad statement. I just think that it's a short-sighted statement, and that is that there's nothing wrong with science, math, technology,
English.
math. Yeah, it's nothing. Nobody's saying that there's anything wrong with that. But when you downplay the arts, you just locked the door that opened up physics and chemistry. You just locked the door that opens up English to the spoken word artist. You know what I mean? When you
Yes, I do.
When you close down the arts, you just took geometry for the artist and just threw it out the window.
Yes, yes.
But when you talk the arts, what you're doing, at least from my perspective, is that you just painted a door on a wall
Yes, yes, yes.
that has a knob with no lock, right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
so, how important is it to model this level, and I mean this level, in a space where
Yes, yes,
people aren't
yes.
used to this level? How important is it to model this level in front of young people who have had that door locked?
Oh, it's I mean, it's critical. It's critical. It is. We're talking about, for some people. I've had young people come to me after work and say, "This saved my life." And so we're talking about, for me, life and death. I mean, it's that serious. When you deal with math and those other academic pieces without art, what you're actually doing when you teach math, you are actually teaching a specific subject. When you teach English, when you teach these different areas, science, you're teaching a specific subject. What the arts does, what the subject of the arts does, is it actually allows young people to create it themselves. Without the arts, you are actually crippling young people and taking away the power of their voice. So when I'm in a math class, I am being taught. When the doors open for me to act or do theater or make a beat, I am actually bringing my whole self. And right now, our young people are broken. And so if we don't say, we want to see you, we want to hear your story. See, they can't tell their story in those other classes. The arts allows them to live wholly and fully. And without that, again, this rage has no place to go. This pain has no place to go. This trauma has no place to go. And it will be knocking at your door in a way that you don't want to answer. Okay, you don't want that in your house. But if you let someone drum that out, if you let someone spit that out at a mic, if you let someone dance that out, now they allow us to feel them. It becomes a whole visceral experience for everybody, and those young people get free. And unless young people start to get free, then we are just in trouble, because they are our tomorrow. So it's critical. It's the breath. It's life or death.
All
I
right. So
pause to put it.
I guess we done. I guess I done tiptoed on your passion, because I hear it. I hear your passion, and I don't know if anybody else is watching this. We'll probably get a couple hundred views of this a little later on, but yeah, we done tiptoed on your passion now. And you said a couple things, and this is we just talking, just me and you just talking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because and most of the people who are probably watching this don't know my background, because they think all I've done in all my life is pastor, but I haven't. I spent most of my life in media, 30 years in media, right? Starting in 1982.
Yeah.
So at Indiana Black Expo, as I told you, at the Indiana Black
Yes.
Expo. So, and you said it, but I'm going to expound upon it for those who don't know me, okay? That creativity, the arts, is life or death, because it is our exhale.
Yes.
A young person who walks around without the outlet of creativity walks around like this.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, what we see is that they are suffocating.
Yeah.
They are dying a slow death simply because there is something natural on the inside that is trying to get out. And when you give
Yes.
that writer a pencil and a piece of paper, or that artist a paintbrush and a canvas, or that
That's right.
or that musician a piano or a drum machine or Logic or Pro
Yep.
Tools or Fruit Loops, it don't have to be nothing deep. Or you give
Yep.
that videographer a camera, whether it is a still camera or a DSLR, it doesn't matter. When you put the
That's right.
tool in their hand, what happens is they go, and they
That's right.
exhale for the very first time.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so I agree with you. And I want to submit to those who are watching this right now that some of y'all are watching children die spiritually due to suffocation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on their death certificate, the cause of death should be suffocation.
Yeah.
because not because they didn't die because of a bullet, they didn't die because their father wasn't there, they didn't die because they were abused as a child, they didn't die, y'all hear me? They didn't die of starvation, they died of suffocation because they needed to exhale, they needed to write, they needed to draw, they needed to shoot, they needed to edit, and no one paid enough attention to their innate creativity and their skills. They were doodling, they were drawing, they've been drawing, and nobody was paying attention. So I feel you, but when you said that, I'm sorry, when you said breath, when you said breath, girl, oh my God, you hit it when you said breath, because it is literally our creativity. And okay, let me just say this. I know I got to come back to you, but let me just say this, because it don't matter. You could be 50 years old and you still holding your breath.
Yep. Oh, without a doubt.
You got that degree because somebody told you you look like that. But you really are you're really an author. You're really a poet.
Yeah.
And you have been holding your breath, waiting. So there's some child that's gonna free their parent through the IBE Performing Arts Program. Yeah. There's a child that's gonna free a parent. After 50 years, they're gonna finally breathe again, And so I applaud you, sis, because what you're doing, and I'm a living witness. I'm not telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know.
That's right.
I'm a living witness.
Me too. Me too.
You must let children breathe through creativity.
Yeah.
And that will give rise to opportunities for leadership positions, to getting master's degrees and PhDs and teaching and pouring into others what was poured into them. So do you have any final words or any way that people can connect with you and the work that you're doing?
I welcome people to email me directly, but also, my business line, call me, talk to me. If there's anyone, listening to this, I want to be able to get their story, their testimony completely uncensored. How is this time right now that we stand in the world? How is it impacting you? How are you feeling? What do you see every day differently now when you look in the mirror? I need all the stories and the testimonies I can get. My email is rwilson@indianablackexpo.com. Again, that's rwilson@indianablackexpo.com. And my business line is 317-626-7575. And we are trying to walk young people into their voice, and in a way where now they also want to empower their community. So what's being built at the Academy is also a whole community engagement segment. So yes, please reach out.
All right. Now, hopefully, I'm looking at Angela Shine. She's from Mississippi, down there, Mississippi. And Angela, she's down there. She's saying, shouting amen and all that from Mississippi. She has a television show called Faith in Mind. And so she does great work down there. And she's just giving you kudos and dittos and all that. Robin Lee, God bless you. We see you on Faith. Hopefully, Faith, I'm going to ask you to say your email and phone again. Faith, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and submit that into the chat box so that anyone that needs to get her email and office phone can have that. And then we're going to let y'all go. But just say one more time how people can contact you.
rwilson@indianablackexpo.com. And my number is 317-626-7575. And of course, I want to make sure that I just applaud and lift IBE for coming up with this academy and for calling me to come down here and relocate my life. It is worth it. And just a shout to all of the students. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the vulnerability that you have already presented. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, yep, I'm seeing it pop into the chat. God, thank you, Sister Faith, for doing that. Hey, again, Sister Rain, I really appreciate it. Welcome to the city. I hope I'm not the first person that says welcome. I hope some other folks said welcome too. But welcome to welcome to the city, to you. I know you have a daughter. Not sure if you have any other children, but welcome to you, and definitely to your daughter.
I have a black son
you have
who I'm fighting for every
Lord
day.
How old is your son?
He will be 29, and he is working at the University of Wisconsin, and so it is we are in a challenge and a fight of resistance and shift all over the world, and so power to him. I am the mother to a black boy, the sister to a black man, and the daughter to a strong black man, and I say more power to all of you all.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and thank you for spending some time with us. I hope that this has been a blessing to you as much as it's been a blessing to us.
It has been an absolute blessing. My cup is full. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, Sister Robin Lee says thank you as well. She's excited to meet you soon. So let's keep this conversation going. We'll get you back on another Saturday. But again, y'all remember, my deal here is that we're doing community conversations, not just to talk about the problems, but we're talking about how do we move forward. We need solutions. Dr. Martin Luther King said, if you can't, what did he say? If you can't run, walk. He said, if you can't walk, crawl. No, he said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, he said, keep moving forward. And that's what we want our community to do. Everybody can't do what everybody can do. But one thing we can do is we can make a commitment that we're moving forward in our lives. And what you're doing, Sister Rain, is going to help a lot of young people move forward in their lives. Isn't that right?
Oh, I receive it. I receive it. Thank you. No more invisibility. Our young kids deserve to be seen and heard. No more invisibility.
Right. You got that right. Yeah. All right, y'all. This is my last interview of the day. Again, I want to thank everybody that was interviewed on today. I thank them for their time and their commitment and their sacrifice of their Saturday. I'm tired as all get out, y'all. Praise God. I don't have to preach tomorrow. Praise God. But y'all make sure y'all keep up with Unite for Change. Jump on over to our website, uniteforchange.org, especially for those who are watching right now. Go over there and look at the gaps and overlaps page. Look at that page because that lists all of the agendas and demands of the various organizations throughout the city. There's like 47 of them. Y'all know Dr. Woody Myers, who's running for governor, he said there's about 47. My math was wrong. I know his was right because he got a PhD. All right, I just got a master. He got a PhD, so he's right. Nevertheless, go there because it's important for us to understand we can't fight for an agenda that we don't know, right? Our people perish for a lack of what? Knowledge. And in all you're getting, the word of God says, get understanding. So you got to go to that page, look at those agenda items, and then let's think about, I'm sorry, I got to sum up our conversation today, Sister Rain. Then you got to think about what D. Ross and what Pastor Chauncey said on today. And that is that we need to put our agendas aside, our pride aside. And one of the things I mentioned is generational arrogance must leave the room.
Please repeat that. Please repeat that.
I said generational. That's my amen corner right there.
Yes. Forget about territories.
Generational arrogance. And again, generational arrogance is not the older generation and the younger generation is scot-free. No, all of our generations must remove the arrogance and the pride from the conversation so that we can see the bigger picture and move forward. How we do it, we're still in dialogue about how we do it, but we start by communicating and talking to one another, and that's what community conversation is all about. We got to talk, y'all. We got to talk. We got to talk. We got to talk to each other and not at each other, certainly not past one another. So again, go to the website. If you haven't registered for the Urban Servant Leadership Unconference, you need to go there, go to that same website, uniteforchange.org. Go ahead and register because, again, we open it up to the nation. We got voices coming in from all over the country. August the 15th, virtual unconference. It's going to be off the chain, okay? And we're going to have to cap off because we're national now, so we got to cap it. So we can't just let 1,000 people walk into our virtual conference because it costs me money to do that, right? And y'all don't want to pay for the conference. It's going to be free. So since y'all don't want to pay, we got to cap it off. So you need to go in and get your RSVP real quick. All right, Sister Rain, I'm sorry you had to listen to all of that.
Okay.
But we got to sum it up.
I just need to know what's happening. Yeah. Thank you.
She has now caught up to speed on everything that's going on in Indianapolis. Nevertheless, go to the website. Read everything you need to read. We got our blog up now, so we got some blog posts going on in there that I'm dropping every now and then. Register for the conference. read the information, learn about the agendas, learn about the demands so that you are fully informed and aware of what our community is fighting for. Until next Saturday, well, I'll have a whole nother list of people from the community that we're going to interview. I want to say God bless you. I thank you. And do what King said. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, make sure you are moving forward. God bless y'all. We'll see you a little later. This is Pastor G. Peace.